What is up, my friends? You are welcome back along to tonight's late night agenda. Appreciate you giving up some of your evening to come and have a chat with me. As I see here, at least as I was starting to see here, it was 3-0 to Chelsea in the Club World Cup final. And look, they deserved that lead. They were absolutely brilliant. Maresca's tactics were spot on, and fair play to Chelsea on that one. We're going to have to look at them with that gold badge now for the next 4 years, but they deserved it with the performance today. So well done to them. Also, of course, we're going to have a little talk about the title of tonight's stream. We're going to figure out what SESKO is at. We're going to talk about a potential offer coming our way for Ibrahim Kanade as well. And I still can't hear out my right ear, so things are a bit weird for me at the minute. Appreciate you all being in, though, as do keep me up to date if anything changes with the Club World Cup score. But, yeah, nice. Mark said, can't hear you. Well, then turn up your volume, because it's at your end, not mine. So yeah, there you go. If you can't hear me, mate, that's at your end. It isn't an issue at our end, but I can't hear in general. So there we go. Right. So look, want to start off tonight's stream by saying a thank you, a sincere thank you to Preston North End for the friendly earlier on, for the brilliant welcome, for the respect shown towards Diogo as well. Yeah, just it was an emotional afternoon for everybody, and fair play to Preston for the way that they went about it. I thought it was class from start to finish, and full credit to them. Wishing them nothing but the best for the new season. Should we have signed João Pedro? You know what? I said for a long time I'd take João Pedro at Liverpool, and lots of people laughed at me and said that he was nowhere near good enough. And he's showing that he is a decent player. Now look, would I have taken him as the only striker option? Probably not. But we don't need a striker anyway. We've got Darwin at the club, and Darwin's going to make everything better this season. So, nothing to be concerned about there. Darwin's here. We're all grand. Nothing to be worried about. Craig, you think if we get Rodrigo, if Diaz goes, look, there are loads of good options up top. Loads of good potential players that we could bring in, but I really don't know what way the manager's thinking. Yeah, I don't know what his thought process is and what style of forward we want. Would it be, a like-for-like type player? I was really impressed with young Rio today as well, albeit he still has quite a bit to go. Stuart says, salty, Craig. No, not salty. I can't, you want some Darwin love, I'll give you some Darwin love. No problem. I'm not being salty. I'm just trying to buy in to the apparent resurgence of Darwin Nunez that everybody seems to think has happened because he intercepted a back pass. So new contract for Darwin, 250 grand a week, worth every penny of it. What could go wrong? Right, so let's start off with the Benjamin SESKO stuff because, well, he's been a bit mad, to be honest with you. So he's following loads of football clubs, and today he started following Liverpool Football Club. And then after that, well, he went a little bit further. He started pinning the Liverpool game to his Instagram bio, I believe. And I don't know if he's hoping for a move to Liverpool or if there's absolutely any interest, because truly I haven't got a clue. It's easy for us to start looking into this, and it's understandable as fans you look into it as well, because he's clearly trying to show Liverpool some love. And I seen a couple of people in the comments before we started saying don't want sloppy seconds from Arsenal. It's not really sloppy seconds, to be fair. They couldn't afford the price, or didn't want to pay the price, sorry. One or the other. I don't know which one it is because I don't really know Arsenal's finances. But again, I don't know for a fact that there's any interest in SESKO either. But what I do know is he wants to move away by the looks of it, and he's probably trying to charm his way to a move. So let's just start off by asking, would you take him? Because I can understand both sides of this. So let's just start off by him. Would you be happy if we signed SESKO? So 1 sec. Would you be happy if we signed SESKO? And let's see what people think. So I don't know what everybody else took from today's game, but for me, I thought it was very interesting to see the differences in the way Arne utilised Frimpong and the way he utilised Conor Bradley. I thought that was quite an interesting little observation from today's game. Bradley seemed to be more of what you'd look at as a normal right back compared to Bradley, who of course was, as I mentioned, playing in that half space a lot and making those underlapping runs. Could be just down to the fact that Frimpong maybe is still getting up to speed with the tactics and the way Arne would like him to play. But either way, for me, I enjoyed the first half of that game more earlier on than the second. I thought we looked a little bit sharper in the first. That was my take on it anyway. But yeah, it was a thoroughly enjoyable afternoon watching both a mixture of obviously some of the younger players there. I thought Trey Leone looked really good. I thought it was interesting to get a first look at Georgie Marmadarsvili as well. Craig, do you think Palmer is better than Wirtz at football? Why? Because he scored twice in 6 months? No, not at all. That's just absolutely silly talk. Look, it's about bloody time Cole Palmer starts scoring. Let's be honest, he'd been ghosting it for about 6 months, but 2 goals that he scored today, he took them both really, really well. And look, no saltiness involved in what I'm saying here. Genuinely, Chelsea deserved to win that game. They were brilliant. Winning their battles all over the pitch. They absolutely smothered Paris Saint-Germain in the first half. Give credit where it's due. It was a thoroughly good performance and deserving winners. You know, they might have had an easier route to the final, but they showed up at the final and they swarmed all over them. It was really impressive to see from Chelsea. Hello, Craig from Canada. How are we, Jex? Nice to see you, my friend. What's your thoughts on Edmund Tapsoba as a possible centre-back brought in if Kanade leaves? I haven't watched much of him, to be honest with you, mate, so I probably wouldn't be able to give you the best of opinions, but we certainly do need a centre-back right now, and maybe 2 if Kanade moves on. Now, on Kanade, let me just get to the news there on him. 1 second. SESKO and Rodrigo or Isak alone, which would you rather? Oh, I don't know if I can answer the question because we definitely do need a wide player if we lose one. So if Diaz goes, we need one. If Chiesa goes, we need one. So I'd probably take Šeško and Rodrigo if that was the only option to strengthen the front line, because I would think bodies are important there as well. But yeah, I would take SESKO and Rodrigo because I think we're going to need more than one forward. Let me move on to the news from Kanade, because a story coming out of Spain tonight suggests that Real Madrid are about to make a £43 million offer this week for Ibrahima Kanade. Now, I have to say, folks, I don't know whether Liverpool can get Kanade to stay or not. I'd love him to, but if we can't, bite their hand off if that offer comes. You know, if Ibu doesn't want to renew at Liverpool and he wants to move to Madrid, if that is true, and I would say take that with a big pinch of salt because it comes from Ficajes, but if indeed this is true, I think Liverpool should bite their hand off for that £43 million because, you know, it's fair. Let's be frank about this. £43 million with a year to go would be fair. I would take that money. Only if he makes it clear he doesn't want to renew, because still priority will be for him to renew. But if he wants to go, for me, take that £43 million and run. Don't debate it. Don't go back and forth with them. Take the money and sell him. That's what I'd say. 43 is so cheap. No, it's not. He's got 1 year to go in his contract. 43 is more than fair. For me, in my opinion, 43 is more than fair. But again, don't take it as a given. It's a report coming out of Spain. Let's wait and see what happens. Liverpool may look at it and think it doesn't matter what the offer is. If they don't think they can get an able replacement for Kanade, maybe Liverpool think they need a year to figure it out. And again, I could understand that as much as I would respectfully disagree with that stance. Keane said, still think Chelsea are far from good enough. Why? Because they beat an understrength PSG team. I mean, I don't think Chelsea are going to win the Premier League or the Champions League, Keane, if that's what you're asking me. I don't. But they deserve to win that game tonight. They were brilliant. I'm not a hater. I call it as I see it, mate. and Chelsea played PSG off the park, at least in the first 55 minutes that I watched. They were brilliant all over the pitch. Smothered PSG, absolutely just deserved it. I give my full credit to Chelsea for that, mate. They deserve that win, but no, I don't think they're going to be a real problem for the Premier League or the Champions League this year. I don't, and that stance hasn't really changed. Seeing Darwin play today kind of gave me hope of him being better this season. Oh yeah, he's going to be brilliant. I can't wait. I'm thinking 35, 40 goals for Darwin this season. Probably don't even need to go out and bring in another striker now, to be honest with you. Might as well get an extra centre back in or a DM or something. So we getting SESKO or Ekitike? I don't know. Like the SESKO stuff kind of just came out of nowhere today. He started following Liverpool, then he started pinning things from the Liverpool game. Yeah, it's I don't know what to make of it. In all honesty, I don't know if it's the player maybe showing a bit of desperation or there's something to it. Really don't know, folks. What do you guys think of it? What's your reading of the situation with what SESKO's doing? Because he's following, I think, United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Arsenal, Liverpool. There was a few more. Real Madrid, but today he pinned some stuff from the Liverpool game, I think, on his Instagram profile as well. I haven't got a clue, what to make of it, but it's interesting. But it just feels like he's getting desperate for a move away. But, I don't know what to make of it. Gumi said, I think he's just begging for a move. The SESKO pin post has been pinned since that game. It's nothing new. Is it? I don't know if that's the case or not. I say that sincerely, mate. I don't know. But I haven't got a clue. Lads. Social media is a mad world, and I don't know what to make of it, because obviously we had the likes of Milos Kerkez, who was like a Liverpool post and stuff, but we kind of had a good feeling that Milos was going to become a Liverpool player. Desperate or showing Arsenal he got other options. I don't know. Arsenal just don't seem to want to pay the money that Leipzig are looking for, and they're seemingly having a bit of trouble as well with Sporting Lisbon coming to an agreement on a fee for Victor Gyökeres. Ryan said Darwin almost fluffed that chance. Get real, people. I mean, there's no need to be a hater, Ryan. Darwin gave it his best out there today, and I, for one, am fully on board with giving Darwin Nunez not just another season, Ryan. I'd give him another contract. Clearly, intercepting a back pass today makes everything else better. So, new deal for Darwin. No debate. Jaden said they've agreed with Sporting. Cool. Appreciate that, Jaden. I haven't been keeping up to it, mate. Last night, the last I'd seen of it was that there was like an 8 million valuation difference or something like that. But if they agreed the deal, then fair play. It looks like he's the guy then. Not going to really say overly concerns me, to be honest. If there are strikers out there that if Arsenal had have got would have worried me more. But I do think he'll score goals for them. He's not a bad player, Gyökeres, but is he going to be as good as people think? I guess time will tell. Right, so we have a poll up and we're asking you, would you be happy if we signed SESKO? I guess I should probably answer that question as well, right? Would I be happy if we signed SESKO? I'd have concerns. I would. I'd have concerns, but I think I'd understand why we took the chance. And it would have to be, what are we talking about, £85 million? He's young, what is he, 22? Big specimen, strong, powerful. If he wants to come in and play back up to Darwin for a year, fair enough. Let him ease his way in while, Darwin collects the golden boot and a potential Ballon d'Or. The lad said, hey Craig, didn't see the game today. Was there anybody that stood out? Yeah, I thought Stevenson, the young centre-back, looked really good. I thought Trey Leone looked really, really good. Obviously, they all played second fiddle to Darwin out there today, but they are only human beings. They can't get to that level. I thought Georgie Mamardashvili looked accomplished. I thought Bradley played really well. I thought Kirkes looked good when he came on. Still not sure what to make of the 45 from Frimpong, because I almost felt like we were holding him back a little bit. He wasn't at full pelt, if you get me, because I think he's still learning the system. Rio looked really exciting, didn't he? Every time he got on the ball, you thought to yourself, just go on, fella, go on, have a run, make something happen. And he looks really bright, really, really bright. I thought that was a very impressive 45 from him as well. Gakpo's finish was tidy. Yeah, but it was all about the step over from the great man. If Darwin hadn't done the step over, Gakpo doesn't get that goal. So I think we should just chalk down another one for Darwin. He was, without a doubt, man of the match today, Darwin Nunez. I mean, I assume we're all on the same page with that one. It was good to see Ben Doak give a little fist pump as well for his assist, because it was his perseverance in winning that ball back, and then obviously played that ball. It was a kind of a nothing ball in from Ben Doak, but it was the step over from Darwin. It just unlocked the defence like a grand chess master, stepping over the ball and allowing it to go to Cody Gakpo, who passed it into the net. But it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Darwin Nunez. So I think we should all take a moment to just acknowledge the brilliance of Darwin, really. I think some of you guys owe an apology to Darwin Nunez for some of the slander that I've seen over the last few months on here, that it's quite frankly shameful. Shameful. I tried. I tried, lads. I tried. I thought to myself, you know what? If I can't beat them, join them. Such a hater, said James. No, he's just shit. It's nothing to do with being a hater, mate. It's just I tried. I said to myself, look, you're gonna have to deal with it. So just get on board, Craig. Get on board. Look, I'm gonna try to respect everybody's opinions, obviously, on the situation, but I just think a lot of people are setting themselves up for pain, because I just don't think there's a way he stays. But to give the man his dues, jokes aside, he did play well. Yeah, he did. Genuinely, he did. He played well when he was on for the 45. Took his goal well. The step over was genuinely decent as well to set up Gakpo. And I thought he ran in behind, interestingly, on a couple of occasions as well. So, look, I don't really have many negatives to take from today's game. I thought we looked okay for what was the first preseason game. What do you guys think, though? First or second half? Which one did you guys prefer? For me, as I mentioned, I thought we looked a little bit sharper in the first 45, but give Darwin some credit instead. Instead of what? I've given him credit. I literally, people are getting mad at me for no reason. By the way, I said today in the game, watch it, that he did well. I don't know what people are getting to be in their bonnet at me about Darwin for. I gave him all the credit I could and deserved his praise for his good 45. Genuinely. There's no joke there. He did all right today. No problem admitting that. But he's not going to be here by the end of the window. So, if people genuinely think there's going to be a renaissance, I feel like they're going to be upset, because he will move on. First half was better, said Mary. First half for Teresa. Typical first game of preseason, said Paul White. First half was brilliant, said Michael. Woodman was better than expected. It was an interesting one. Obviously, nothing Woodman could have done about the goal. I still don't understand why we had Ben Doak marking whoever their number 6 was, big physical specimen, their captain, having Doak marking him from a corner just looked like we were asking for trouble. So yeah, not much that Woodman could have done about the header. It was past him before he knew what was up. But definitely some promising signs there today. For a proper first look at Rio, I thought we've every right to be excited about that. I thought Trainioni, again, looked class. Gravenberg was the moment of the game for me. I know he didn't score, but that drop with the shoulder in midfield in the first half, I thought just opened up that midfield like that, and it was beautiful. It was a joy to watch. So yeah, lots to get excited about there today. And of course, we didn't even see the likes of Virgil or Alexis or Alisson, Luis Diaz. Lots of first teamers still to come back in as well. And obviously Florian Wirtz, we all wait for a first look at him. Carbon, to be honest with you, Craig, I think we should sign, I think you mean Eze right there. And the reason is that he can cover left and right wing and play through the middle. So the problem that I would say, if we're to talk about Eze, is one, the age. What is he, 27? That's very unlike us. But he would be a good player. I also think he'll end up at Arsenal for what it's worth. But I see absolutely, Carbon, understand your thought process, mate. He's a very good footballer, can play in a few different positions. It's just the age thing I think would be restricted. But we have been credited with an interest in Eberici Eze. But I just get a feeling he'll end up at Arsenal. Right, so I've a couple more super chats to get to. Just bear with me 1 minute. So we asked, would you be happy if you signed SESKO? We were close to 2,000 votes, so if you can't, take a second, vote in it for us and let us know what you think. Suleiman said, I'm honestly surprised to see how many Liverpool fans think we should keep Darwin. I have no doubt they'll regret it if he stays. It's a difficult one. Like, jokes aside, it's a difficult one because it's good to see people supporting our players. Genuinely, no jokes, it's good. But I feel like we've had this conversation a few times over the years. Let's see how he gets on. Let's try it again. And last season, it just wasn't clicking for whatever reason. So I agree. I just don't think it's going to work. But it's tough to criticize people who want to support the player, right? But it's when it starts to creep towards potential delusion that I guess you're going to have a conversation about it. But let's wait and see. Look, the biggest hint, I think, to everybody should be that the club were more than happy for him to negotiate with Napoli, right? So whatever we think, clearly the club believe he's going to go. Because there was no problem with him debating and talking with Napoli and trying to figure out that move. That's not the type of actions our football club would just allow to happen if we had any intentions of keeping him, right? So even just reading between the lines, it looks very, very unlikely that he stays. Dark Tone said, I support all Liverpool players while they are Liverpool players. So, in theory, I agree with you, my friend, but there are exceptions. El Hadj Diouf being an example. And also, I've mentioned this before, I can't get past Darwin's accusation towards the club about why he wasn't being played. That was the turning point for me. But I respect your opinion. Ryan said, Darwin did fine today, but let's face it, it's 3 years in. I'm sorry, he's got to go. One game pre-season and suddenly people think he's going to break records. I get it, but like, as our friends pointed out, it's good to see people backing our players, even if I disagree with them. As I keep coming back to me, I don't think it really matters what I think or what anybody thinks he's going to be sold. So one way or the other, Darwin's time at Liverpool will come to an end. But if you looked at my coverage of the game today, I said he deserves the pre-season. He deserves the same chances as everybody else. He's still a Liverpool player. And today he had a chance to, if anything, put himself in the shop window a bit, and he took his opportunity, and fair play to him. Right, so 60% of just over 2,100 people said that they would take SESKO. Now, we're going to get into the Darwin question. Because there's a split in the chat. Some want to keep, some don't. So let's put it to a vote and see what people think. Should... One sec. Should Liverpool keep Darwin? Right. I'm going to give you a couple of different answers. So that yes and no, but... No, but... how do I phrase this? Okay, yeah. Should Liverpool keep Darwin? Okay. Only if we do not sign a striker. Okay. So, should we keep Darwin? Yes, no, or only if we don't sign another striker. I think they're probably the three options that are on the table. So, should Liverpool keep Darwin? Yes, no, or only if we don't sign another striker. Where are we? King Kenny. So Craig, as they're same as last preseason, Slot uses it to show players off for sale. Great tributes from the crowd for our number 20. Yeah, it was brilliant, mate. It honestly was, from both sides, from Preston fans. I finally got a chance to hear the lady who was singing "You Never Walk Alone" as well. Afterwards, wow, what a voice! What a voice! She did that song justice. And I thought, obviously, the tribute, the wreath laid in front of the Liverpool fans, it was a beautiful gesture, and it was very well done by Preston, by Liverpool, by everybody concerned. Congratulations to Chelsea, just confirmed there as the Club World Cup winners, and based off what I've seen anyway in the first 55 minutes, more than deserving of the victory today. They were by far the better side, and they deserved their win. Adam said, think I spent 75% of the game in tears today. Understandable, my friend. Understandable. It was definitely an emotionally charged day. Colin said, I fear SESKO could be another Werner. Maybe. I get where you're coming from. I certainly, Colin, wouldn't sit here and say to you, mate, that he's the finished article. You are buying potential, and that's kind of scary as well, isn't it? Because we've kind of done the buying potential thing, and so far hasn't worked. So it's a tough one. It is a tough one, and I'm really intrigued to see what way we do go in the attacking department. I think Darwin would be a great backup striker to Isak, in my opinion. We're one striker down. So for me, I don't want 140 or 150 grand a week backup. Genuinely, in any position. It's a lot of money, but I guess we're going to have that maybe with Andy Robertson this season. If it is Costas that moves on, well, then we'll have 180 grand a week backup at left back. So let's see what happens. Wait, Chelsea beat PSG. Not just beat them, Studley, trounced them. They were 3-0 up when I came on here to start, and that didn't flatter them. They were really good. Luis Enrique just floored Pedro. It's I don't know, lads. I don't know what to say. That's shocking. Obviously, I haven't seen it, so I can't really speak to the incident. Zoidberg said, "Hi Craig, what percentage do you put on Rodrigo joining us?" Oh, man, I wouldn't have a clue. Honestly. I don't know if there's even any genuine interest from Liverpool. Like, the report today, of course, was that there is interest, but I don't know. I'd be more than happy if we were interested in him. I also read a report the other day that said that he wants to join Arsenal. Make of that what you will. I don't know, mate. I really don't know what's going on. Luke, you said I missed your super chat. Don't see one, mate. Apologies, I'm scrolling back through. Oh, here it is, Luke. Sorry. Wish we went for João Pedro. Very good player. Luke, if you watch back in earlier streams, mate, I said before Chelsea or anybody or Newcastle went for João Pedro that I wouldn't say no to him as a second option. I think he's underrated. But he's a Chelsea player now, and I think he'll show that he means business. He's had a very good first week with Chelsea since he's come in. Any update on Rodrigo? I don't know of a single nailed on link yet, mate. I don't. But what I am interested to know, though, and I'll get onto a vote about this in a while, I want to know what you think about the potential Canade offer. If it comes our way, what we should do with it. Another bit of interesting news tonight, by the way, involving West Ham, is that West Ham are set to turn their attention towards Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton as they look to start to rebuild there. Now, Tyler Morton to West Ham, I think, might be a good move for everybody concerned. But if I'm Harvey Elliott, respectfully, to West Ham, I think he can do better. I think, he was the standout player of the under-21 Euros. And I think his ambitions from moving on from Liverpool should be a little bit higher than West Ham. Personally, with all due respect to West Ham as a club, I think Morton, solid signing. But if I'm Harvey, I'm certainly probably looking to move elsewhere. Get behind Nunez has been confirmed tonight. He's staying. Has it? Are we all just making stuff up now, Limo? Is this how it's going to work, is it? So, where's this breakthrough information, mate, that nobody else seems to have seen except your good self, about the confirmation that Darwin's staying, even though 2 days ago he was talking with Napoli and wanted to move there and we were happy to sell him. But then all of a sudden, because he intercepted a back pass today, everything has changed. The club stance has changed. Okay, let's see. There's going to be so many heartbroken Darwin fans when he sold, but... Right, so the question is, should Liverpool keep Darwin? Yes, no, or only if we don't sign another striker? Naturalist said Elliott shouldn't join West Ham. They might be bottom of the league. Elliott is better than that and should go to a club that can compete better. I agree. I think Harvey Elliott has, clubs like Aston Villa, maybe Newcastle, Brighton, a couple of Bundesliga clubs. I think he can aim a little bit higher than West Ham personally. Pedro only wanted Chelsea. Do I have to be the only adult in the room? Joe Pedro wanted Chelsea because Chelsea are clearly a club that... Right, let me put it another way to you. You'll never convince me that if Liverpool wanted Joe Pedro, that he wouldn't have joined Liverpool in a heartbeat. Never. There's been a lot of these only wanted shy posts from Romano when a player is agreed to join a club. So let's wait and see. But there's been a lot of only wanted from Romano when it's been pretty clear that this is the only club going for somebody. Now, Newcastle did want Pedro and he did turn them down, but... Carbon said, I think we should keep Darwin. I do think we should keep Darwin, but the problem with Darwin is that he likes playing off another striker or a 10 or a 9, getting him the ball through space is where he shines best. So, here's the problem, tactically, with Darwin. Even his own coach that first worked with him was talking about the problems and the struggles that he's had at Liverpool. And I was reading this piece during the week. And basically, he doesn't think the way we play is right for Darwin. And that's understandable. It probably isn't. Because in the Premier League, a lot of the time, we don't have room in behind. And Darwin's at his most devastating when he runs in behind, breaks lines, and gets on the shoulder. But a lot of the time, we dominate possession against teams, and they sit back with a low block. And there is no space for Darwin to exploit. And he's not a natural poacher, really, that you think of in and around the 6-yard box. So I just don't think it's a good fit stylistically. Do I think Darwin could go somewhere else and score goals? Yes, I do. But I don't think anything will change at Liverpool, for me, for Darwin, personally. Zoidberg said, couldn't catch today's game. Are the academy centre-backs good enough to cover as backups? Well, we only really seen Stevenson and Nallo today. Stevenson, if I'm not mistaken, and excuse me if I am, I think he's a central defensive midfielder by trade. But he looked very accomplished today alongside, who was he playing alongside in the first half? Joe Gomez. And in the second half, I thought Nallo looked good. Very interesting seeing Andy Robertson, left-sided centre-back today as well in the second half. But I thought both young men did well. I really did. I was impressed with Nallo and with Stevenson. Let me just get through a few more comments so I don't forget them. This one. Hi, Craig. So glad we didn't get Joe Pedro. His attitude stinks. Vicious elbows to people's faces and pushing Luis Enrique tonight needlessly is disgusting. I didn't see the incident, mate. Yeah, I didn't see it. I was on here just before that happened, so apologies on that one. I'll have to look at it and then obviously give you a take on it. But there's a player in Joe Pedro. He's shown that, but he's a Chelsea player, so. Carbon, I think I got to it at the end, bro, but apologies. Matthew Johnny, how are we, my friend? Said, maybe I'm a pessimist, but I don't see the appeal with SESKO. I agree Darwin has to be replaced, but what's there to indicate SESKO is better? At least with Ekitike, he can create and also has better goals and assists. So, again, mate, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you we're signing Benjamin SESKO. I don't know that. What we're talking about tonight, though, is just, him following Liverpool and a lot of chatter on social media about him. I haven't got a clue, mate. You could tell me, I know, like you could say, Craig, I know for a fact we're going to sign whoever. And I couldn't call you a liar because I don't know. I haven't got a clue who the target is through the centre. I really just don't know. Right, let's check in on our poll. Nearly at the 2,000 votes. We're only a few away. So, right, 1 second. We're nearly there. Just need a couple more votes. Perfect, thank you. So, we asked, should we keep Darwin Nunez? And we gave 3 options. Yes, no, and only if we don't sign another striker. And the most voted for answer was only if we don't sign another striker. And I can totally understand that answer. Next was no, and then yes. I would dare say if I put it to a straight yes or no vote, I would guess it'll probably end up 60-40 against. But let me turn my attention and your attention, if I can, to the idea of that offer from Real Madrid for Canade. Should we be taking that offer? If that offer is true, should we be taking it? I asked it in the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp channel earlier on. Let me just check in on it. Actually, I can tell you what way they're voting at this moment in time. Where is the WhatsApp? So far, it's very, 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 very one-sided to yes. If the money comes in, Liverpool should take it. So let's ask in here and see if we get a similar answer. Would you accept the potential £43 million Canade offer? So, would you accept the potential £43 million Canade offer? Yes or no? Now, there was another option in the WhatsApp group, but I'm just going to go for a straight yes or no on this one. And if you're wondering where this comes from, there's a report in Spain from Ficajes that said Canade is after reaching a comprehensive agreement with Real Madrid, and that Real Madrid will be putting forward an offer of £43 million for Ibrahima Canade because Xabi Alonso wants to sort out his defence after what they described as difficult Club World Cup. So, Richie said, I think he's worth more. Even with 1 year left on his contract, Richie, I think 43 million with 1 year to go is a fair price to me. I think if he had 3 years left on his contract, I'd probably value Canade at about 60. But it's certainly a far more interesting conversation than the 17 to 21 million pound that was being spoken about as a potential offer from Real Madrid, which was laughable. Right, let's keep moving on. Eddie said, even if I give up on Darwin, I was a big supporter. You were, as was I at one point, mate. I just had the realisation one day that I'm probably wasting my mental energy. But, you know, for now, he's a Liverpool player and, you know, we'll see what happens. Fernando Krieger said, if Real Madrid is offering 40 plus million for Canade, take the money and go for Mark A. So here's what I would say, Fernando. If that is true, and I would say take it with a big pinch of salt, because it seems very un-Real Madrid that they splash around what would be a decent offer. If it's true, I'd say take it and go buy Mark A and buy Joel Haddo. That's what I'd say. Or go buy Mark A and go buy the kid from Parma, the centre-back. But either way, for me, if Canade wants to move and there's no chance of an agreement with him on a new deal, if that offer comes in, I'd take it and then I go buy a young centre-back and then a centre-back like Mark A for the here and now. And again, still have Joe Gomez there for the season as well. TOTT 2KZ1, how are we? WFM, sorry I'm late, Craig. Just coming home from the cricket. Caught a bit off of the game today. And big up Preston. I thought the lads handled the game very well. Yeah, it was a very difficult, emotionally charged afternoon. But I thought the Liverpool fans, the Preston fans, both clubs, it was just to their credit today, Wayne. I agree with you, mate. It was a touching tribute all around. And certainly a good way to remember and immortalise our number 20. Alex said, impressive from Chelsea today. Yeah, it was, mate. It was a very, very, very good win. And they deserved their victory from what I'd seen in the first 45. They were the better side, so full credit to them. Are you worried we won't be able to replace Canade with a better player? I like Gay, and don't want to keep Canada if he wants to leave, but still think it's difficult to replace with someone better. So, Joy, I'll be honest with you. I kind of have a bit of my hopes pinned on Joe Gomez staying fit to provide cover if the centre-back that we bring in, let's say, like a Mark Gay, takes a minute or two to settle in. I think that could be the important key to unlock us getting out of jail on this one. But I keep coming back to this as well. The club sold Kwanzaa, so the club must have a plan. They wouldn't have sold Jarell Kwanzaa if they thought there was any chance that we'd be caught off guard here. So I can only assume that we have a plan. Now, we don't know what Liverpool want to do about Ibrahima Canade. Liverpool might look at the £43 million offer from Madrid and think, well, no, it doesn't matter to us what the offer is. We don't think we can replace Canade. And at that point, we can't rule out the idea that they might let him run down his deal. I think it would be a silly thing to do personally, but we don't know what's happening there. But you can already get a little taste of the Madrid media pull and the Madrid shenanigans that we're going to have to sit through again if this drags on. Matthew said, if Ibu wanted PSG, I'd understand. He's Parisian, they'd pay well, and they won the Champions League. But what's the appeal of this current Madrid team? We literally beat them. I despise them so much. Look, there are always going to be a subset of players who love the idea of going to play for Real Madrid. I wouldn't have ever been in that subset myself. I just despise them. But I can't speak for other people. I can't speak for Ibu. You know, they are a big club in a cosmopolitan city with a shiny new stadium, and obviously they have appeal. Jason Curry said, we're stupid if we don't take that from Madrid. They never offer that money, so let's get Rodrigo. Again, we have to take it with a pinch of salt because it's coming from Fikahe, so I would say defo take it with a pinch of salt. But it's an interesting one. If it is true, I would say take the money myself. Maybe Chelsea are our main rival next season. I don't see it, Paul. I don't. Like, full credit to them for what they did today. But I've watched Chelsea throughout this tournament and they saved their best performance for the final and they deserve to win it. But I don't think they're quite ready to win a league title. It is a mad season, though. They won the Europa Conference League and the Club World Cup in the same season. It's nuts, isn't it, if you think about it in that way? And, of course, qualified for the Champions League as well. I don't know. I think they'll do well, but I don't think they'll last the pace of a full Premier League title race, personally. Not yet. They might be a year or two away from it. I wonder, would we need 3 centre-backs if Canade leaves, or could Robinson provide some cover? I can understand where you're coming from, but I would say Nalo could be that extra body that we're talking about. I thought he was quite good today. Obviously, he had a very difficult first outing for Liverpool in the Champions League, getting sent off. But I thought today in the second half, Nalo looked decent. Certainly worth keeping an eye on over pre-season anyway. VI Jokers said, love the channel, Craig. Let's try to have a good season. Hopefully we can do it for Jota and obviously us fans too. You'll never walk alone. Yeah, I'm really optimistic going into the season. And I think we have good cause to be. We have made some good pieces of business in the summer. We're not finished yet. We still are short. We need a striker or another forward. We need at least one centre back. So yeah, still work to do in the window. Arsenal are now the 4th most successful club this year in London. Embarrassing. Oh, Jamie, that makes me smile, bro. That makes me smile. Palace, FA Cup trophy. Spurs, Europa League trophy. Chelsea, Europa Conference League and the Club World Cup, 2 trophies. Mikel Arteta, vibes. Lots of them. Vibes. Paul said, Craig, I thought Costas had a good game today. I honestly, mate, I don't really have a bad word to say about anyone today that played. If I was to be uberly critical, I would say I didn't see enough from Federico, but I think that's also understandable considering we know the very limited amount of football he's had. But I wasn't blown away by the 45 from him today. But other than that, I was a really happy fan seeing the game today. I thought there was lots to be happy about, considering Preston would probably be a little bit further along in the pre-season than us as well. Spurs could get the Super Cup if PSG play like that again. It's very strange, wasn't it? Like, you obviously give credit to Chelsea for the performance today because it was a really good one. But it looked like one game too many in a season for PSG, if that makes any sense. They just looked like all of a sudden the fatigue just hit them. Like, either that or they thought that they were going to go out there and just walk all over Chelsea and they underestimated the fight that Chelsea were going to put up. But either way, deserving winners, Chelsea from that final today. But yeah, I wouldn't be writing PSG off, to be fair. They can play some good football. But maybe Chelsea have given a bit of a blueprint for how to play against PSG. Dave said, I was impressed with Fede helping make the first goal. I get where you're coming from. I think he looked lightweight is probably what I'd say, Dave. There was 3 shoulder-to-shoulder charges that he ended up on the ground in each one, and I felt he could have been stronger. I just think it's understandable that he's not there, but there was nothing today that made me think he's winning Iron around. Stephen said, I think Chelsea with the extra day of rest showed. Yeah, maybe, Stephen. Maybe. Good point, mate. Good point. Craig, what's the hint SESKO's given us? Well, he followed us, not Anfield Agenda, Liverpool. And there's also, and somebody said this was already there previously. I haven't got a clue or not, but he's also pinned his control against Liverpool in the Champions League. But either way, start following Liverpool today. So I don't know. It's just been a bit of a social media whirlwind over the past few hours over it, and obviously got loads of people talking. Joy said, amazing channel, Craig. Great work as always. Thank you, bro. Been struggling today a bit because I can't hear out my right ear and it's thrown me off when I speak and stuff. Pro said Rio was fantastic, but we need to also not forget the only 2 ballers coming through. Both of them very good today. Excuse me. Yeah, really impressive from both of them. It was exciting seeing young Rio getting the ball and running at defenders, but I thought Trey Neone, like you said, he's never not looked polished when we've watched them play. I'd rather Ekitike than SESKO. Well, let's ask that one. Right, so this is overwhelmingly yes, by the way, so it's no point in keeping going with the poll, but would you accept the potential 43 million for Canada? 83% said yes. So here's one for you. 1 second. Right, so let's go. Okay, one more. Right, pick a striker. SESKO, Ekitike, or stay with Darwin. The reason I put Darwin in there is just to give a bit of balance to it, like, because the conversation tonight has been there a moment ago about Ekitike or SESKO, but felt like might as well put in Darwin in there as well, since as he's already at the club. Craig, if Darwin were to play the rest of the preseason games and he scored a few more to add to his goal today, would you be happy if he stayed for another season? No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can, but no, nothing is going to convince me that we're going to see anything different from inconsistent Darwin. You know, he'll have bunches where he scores. He'll have moments where our jaws drop and we go, wow, that was impressive. And then he'll have the offsides, the misses, and the frustration that has marred his time at the club. If Liverpool put the right money in for Isak, does anyone think Newcastle would be tempted to sell? Well, I guess we're going to find out, because we know that if Liverpool are given encouragement for Isak, they'll make a move. What I struggle to believe, in all honesty, is the reports coming out that Newcastle want Ekitike and Isak. I know everyone's saying from a Newcastle side this will be a big statement of intent, but I just can't see it personally. I can't see them spending £85 million and £55 million on Alanga and still needing a centre back. I struggle to believe that I think if they move for Ekitike, it's surely an indication that they're concerned about the situation with Isak. But maybe I'm reading it. Maybe I'm underestimating Newcastle, but that's how I see it. Robin said SESKO is the monster we all were hoping Nunez would be. Look, I like SESKO, but I respect and understand why other people would have concerns, you know, because one, we've seen other people do really, really, really well at Leipzig come to the Premier League and not do so well. There's a lot of attributes about him that are positive, but I do understand the uncertainty because it feels like we're not going to get a striker unless it's Isak that most of us go, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. It's tough out there at the minute when you're looking for strikers, as many clubs are finding out. So we'll have to see how it pans out over the while. Obviously, we hope that we get moving on bringing in somebody as soon as we can. Adzer, how are we, sir? Well, Craig, how's the form? Sorry I haven't been in recently. Jota news and some other tragic news made me need a break for a while, but I'm good. I'm glad to hear you're okay, mate. And yeah, look, don't ever feel you need to explain yourself, my man. It's been a very emotional time around the football club, and if you add in your own personal stuff on top of that as well, mate, totally understand. But glad you're back. Everyone now wants Darwin to stay because you scored against Preston North End. I don't know, mate. I'm in this really difficult position where I can't win in this conversation. If I stick to my guns and I say he's not good enough, I get shouted down by people in the chat and called a hater. If I try to be on the fence about it, people moan at me about that. My opinion on Darwin is the same as it always has been. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's going to become good enough, and I don't think another year is going to change any of that. But I find it difficult to shout down people that want to support a player. It's just that I truly feel that there's a large section of our fan base who are setting themselves up for heartache. Because whatever we all think, if Napoli had have gotten to the number, he'd be a Napoli player now. And Liverpool were happy to sell him. Surely that tells people something. If Liverpool didn't want him to go, then these conversations with Napoli wouldn't be happening. And the Al Hilal stuff wouldn't be coming out. Liverpool, from what I understand, don't have any intention of keeping Darwin Nunez. Ronald said, "Hi Craig, we just adore you. We watched that so emotional match today. Not about blue or red, just Jota. Oh my God, perhaps we were unlucky, but Everton supporters come on Preston. Look, I think whenever there is a tragedy in the city, blue and red come together, like you've said, and Everton are always very supportive in that endeavour. I thought Preston were class acts today all around. It was brilliant to see. And yeah, like you said, it was a very emotional day, but I hope it's a cathartic one for the players where the healing process can begin now, because I have no doubt that the last week to 10 days would have floored them. And then obviously going back to Anfield and seeing Diogo's widow there as well, looking at the flowers, it was bound to be emotional. But I hope that today is the start of that healing process and the club starting to move forward. We've got the confirmation that the club are retiring the number 20 across all levels of the club, which I think is a brilliant tribute as well. Liam, I'm still waiting for your lie to be proven right, and don't tell me to get behind our players. The same player told you, your club that you pretend to support, and I say pretend because you're clearly on a wind-up here. The club that you profess to support, Darwin Nunez, the player you want me to support, tried to throw under a bus by saying he wasn't being played because we didn't want to pay 5 million to Benfica. The same player who didn't go over and applaud the fans who were singing his name non-stop. The same player who put snidey posts up on social media. Why am I going to waste my time supporting a player that disrespected my football club and hasn't played very well? Genuine question. Why would I do that? I wouldn't accept it from anybody else. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that people are happy to see the club disrespected because they have a hard-on for Darwin. I find it absolutely nuts. And I'm trying to be as respectful as I can, because if I spoke to you guys the way I'd speak with my friends about Darwin, I think there'd be a lot more of you angry at me. for me, there is nothing that he can say, do to change his situation. Unless he's grown up overnight and wants to realise that the reason it hasn't worked for him at Liverpool is down to him. Not the players, not the managers, not the fans, him. But he doesn't seem able to be emotionally connected enough to join those dots. And for me, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, the club over everything. The club is the constant. And I'm not throwing my club under a bus for Darwin Nunez. Simple as that. The legend. How are we, my Arsenal supporting friend? Nice to... I was only thinking about you the other day, believe it or not. I can't stand Rio telling Arsenal fans how they should feel about the Madueke deal. He seems to have an opinion about every club that isn't United. Oh, mate, I'd stand and salute you if I could. Look, you know my take on Ferdinand. He just wants to insert himself in every conversation, but this is the same man that told Newcastle fans that they should be happy with Mike Ashley and appreciative of Mike Ashley. Now, coincidentally, Rio was trying to sell us 5 brand stuff in Sports Direct stores at the time. But look, I respect Rio Ferdinand as a footballer. He was an absolutely incredible footballer. But as a pundit and as somebody who talks about the game, I don't have the highest of regard for the way Rio talks. I don't. I think he talks an awful lot of shit. And like you said, you know, where's that kind of energy for Arsenal? Or for Manchester United. So I agree with you, mate. Mohammed John Soliev said, hey Craig, SESKO versus Ekitike. Who's got the better footballing intelligence? And also, which one's got more potential? I don't know the answer to that question because I haven't seen enough of either to really give you an honest answer. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I'd be guessing, so I don't know the answer to which one has the bigger potential. I don't know enough. I think what I've seen of SESKO, if his potential is reached, there's a monster of a player. But I can also understand why people would have some doubts about him being able to do that. So for me, all the players who've been linked to us in a forward position this summer outside of Isak come with some level of concern. So I'm happy to trust whatever Arna and the recruitment team think is the best fit because they know the way they want us to play. But we do have a poll running where we said, pick a striker, SESKO, Ekitike, or you'd rather just stay with Darwin. Nunez can't disrespect the hand that feeds him. I tried, mate, and I've tried even today to be professional about it and talk about the good things he did in the game. But it doesn't pacify some people because we've got a lot of people these days who aren't Liverpool fans, in my opinion. They follow a certain player, they like a certain player, and they'll defend that certain player, which is their prerogative. But it's also my prerogative to sit here and tell them I think they're talking shit. You know? And if there's one thing I think you know about me at this point, it's that I'm not going to not give my opinion. Ronald said, thank you, Craig, for mentioning us. Loved Rio today. It's going to be a talent. Thought Kirkes was amazing. Nunez for us, doing. Rio was really exciting in that 45 today, and I can't wait to see more of him in pre-season. Like many others have said, though, I was equally as impressed with Trey Leone. I thought Stevenson did really well in the back line. The differences in the way that we'd seen Bradley and Frimpong play the right back position I thought was very interesting today as well. Certainly with Connor Bradley, it looks like he'll be making those underlapping runs in the half space, whereas Frimpong was kind of holding his width a little bit more and wasn't as advanced at times. There was certainly in the first half, we went to a back 3 in possession and Bradley was really far forward, whereas in the second half, we kind of stuck to our structure at the back, and maybe it was Kirkes at times who was getting a little bit more advanced. But yeah, so exciting, young Rio. Like, to think the age that kid is, what is he now? 16, 17, whatever he is, wow. He's so exciting. Every time he got on the ball, you're just excited. And look, I thought Ben Doak did okay. Or Doak, excuse me. I'm still trying to get that pronunciation down. And I love this little moment for his assist where he get a little fist pump because he worked hard to win that ball back as well today, Ben Doak. So I was very happy for him to get that assist. And yeah, it was good. It was nice. It was a very enjoyable preseason outing today for the first one. Johnny Sins, how are we, dude? Said surely Chelsea, are serious title contenders now. Not for me, mate. No, look, I think over the course of a season they will be inconsistent, and I don't think that defense in particular is good enough to win the Premier League with what they have. But that being said, they were brilliant and deserved to win that final tonight against Paris Saint-Germain. They were by far the better team. But will they be able to do that for 38 games? I don't think so. Yeah, I think they're still a little bit away in their development. Craig, are Newcastle threatening to go for Ekitike to stop us going for Isak? Dave, it's certainly an interesting thought process, isn't it? I struggle, mate, to see a world where they really have both. You know, they spent 55 or 52 million on Elanga. They need a defender, a centre back, badly. I don't know. I can't see the world where they spend 200 million net. I just can't see it happening. So, yeah, I refuse to believe they want both, mate. I can't see it. If Darwin keeps scoring, he'll be staying. Cool. Fun story. But he won't. You can deny reality all you want. Darwin is going to be sold. And if Napoli had have put an extra 5 million down, he'd be in Naples now. And that should tell you something. If the club had any intention of keeping him, do you think they would have let him talk with Napoli? Serious question. But all the other bullshit aside, answer me that. If the club were willing to allow him to go to Napoli, why would they suddenly change their mind? And intercepting a back pass against Preston North End is not going to be the thing that changes their mind. I can understand you liking him, of course. That's your prerogative. But to say factually he's going to stay, I think you're just setting yourself and others up for failure because it isn't going to happen. And if nothing else, he should be sold for the disrespect he showed to the club. But, you know, let's see what happens. Tom Goldsworthy said 1 goal in 20. That's Rasmus Højlund numbers. Rio reminds me of a young Sterling. Oh, mate, I said the very same thing on the watch along today. I remember feeling the same level of excitement and undoubted optimism that when Raheem Sterling was coming through, you know, you just knew. You knew this kid was going to become a really good player. And I felt the very same kind of excitement today watching young Rio. Dark Tones. Hey, Craig, if we sell Darwin, do you think we'll sign 2 strikers since we lost Diogo? I'm unsure, mate. I'm unsure because I can see a world where we sign one and maybe we utilise somebody else centrally. So let's say, just for argument's sake, we brought in Rodrigo. Just for argument's sake. I can see a world where Rodrigo can be utilised left or central. I can see a world where Gakpo can be utilised left or central. I'd love to see a world where Salah could be utilised right or central. Then we've got the Wirtz stuff. We've got the Szoboszlai stuff. So it all depends what way Arne wants us to play. Does he go the PSG route of making somebody a centre forward who isn't a centre forward? Does he mix it up and have a centre forward for when he wants to have that bona fide 9 and another option should we need to sit a bit deeper? These are things that I can't sit here and tell you I know the answers to outside of the fact that Darwin will be sold. I don't know, but I'm intrigued to find out. So what would you guys do with Rio now if you were Arna? What would be your thought process now with young Rio? Would you be looking to keep him around next season, or would you send him out on maybe a 6-month loan and see how he gets on? Ooh, interesting. Right, we've got about 1,600 votes, so 400 more to go. If you'd like to have your say in this one, we're asking you to pick a striker. Keep Darwin or go with Ekitike or SESKO. Poll for Rio. Yeah, no problem. We'll do a poll on Rio. No problem. Let me just get this this one finished off. We need a couple of hundred more votes and then we'll jump into a poll on Rio. Yeah, no problem. See, the problem with a 6-month loan, by the way, is often if you're the club who's loaning in the player, you want the commitment for a season, right? Because you don't want to bring somebody in, have them do really well, let's say, in 6 months and then lose them if you're on a promotion push or something like that. So it can sometimes be difficult as well to get those 6-month loan deals. So I can understand both sides of that debate as well. The legend, how are we, dude? My local team, Dartford FC, who are in the Innsmouth League South, just played Charlton in the pre-season, lost 3-2, which isn't bad for the league difference. Good. Always good. Like, in sport in general, mate, if you play... Like, when I played tennis, I used to always try and practice and play with people who were far better than me, because I think it helps you develop. And if you can hold your own at that level, it builds confidence as well. And I've no doubt the same probably applies there for Dartford. Send Rio somewhere where he's guaranteed playing time, some mid-table championship club. So I'd rather send him to like the Bundesliga or something like that than send him to the championship, because the Premier League is a bit more fast-paced than the championship, who might be a little bit more physical. I think with young Rio, I'd like to see him somewhere, I don't know, like Leipzig, Dortmund, Mainz, somewhere like that. El Harvo said, I just think Rio's a backup, maybe 20, 30 minutes shift to start off with, and then as he adapts to the league, give him a couple of starts. He's look, it's cool that we have to have this conversation. As fans, I love that we have to have this conversation about this absolute young starlet who's coming through, and who we're all chomping at the bit to see given a chance. I think that's credit to his talent. They also just signed Eze's brother as our central attacking midfielder. Nice. Well in, maybe you'll see Abarici down there a few times watching his brother. Rio in Chiesa's role. Yeah, could be a good shout, that, Aaron. Could be a good shout. Pedder, I was wondering where you're going to drop in, mate. Let me just say this to you, my friend. Fully deserving of your win tonight, mate. Didn't give you a chance, but you deserved that victory, Pedder. So congratulations to you, mate. No doubt whatsoever. Better team on the night by a long, long way, and fully deserved your victory. Rio is a child, can't go live somewhere else. He's in our care. Well, he's about to sign his first professional contract next month. So I would dare to say a loan could be possible. But look, I expect him to stay for what it's worth. I said this earlier on in the watch along as well. If I'm Arna, I don't want him going anywhere. I want to be the one developing him if I'm the manager. I want to be the one moulding him to be the player I want him to be in the team. So for what it's worth, mate, I'd be keeping him abound if I was Arna right now. Right, so we'll end this one. So Ekitike, 52% was the winner of your poll. Right, let's ask this one about young Rio. So what should we do with Rio? Keep him in the first team. Loan him out. Keep him with the 21. What am I looking for here? Yeah. Right, so what should we do with Rio? Keep him in the first team, loan him out, or keep him with the under-21s? There, I think, the three options for Rio. So have a vote on that, and we'll come back to it before we finish up. Similar question, what do you think we should do with Nioni? So I think it's a little bit different because Trey's had a bit more time on the pitch in the first team than Rio has had. You know, we've seen Trey last season on a few occasions. I think a loan is probably the right way to go for Trey Nioni. I think a loan would be the last part of that development. But I'm happy if we keep him around either, because every time I see him on the pitch, I just think to myself, wow, what an accomplished young player. Who out of Ekitike, Isak and SESKO do you think suits our system the most? Isak. I think Isak would be ideal. I think Julian Alvarez would be equally as ideal, but, you know, not possible, unfortunately. TG said we could use an attack like PSG, 3 wingers. Yeah, absolutely, mate. We were talking about that earlier on as a potential option. You know, there's nothing to say we have to have a centre forward. It'd be ideal if we did, to be honest. It'd be nice to have the option to have both options there, but I can see a world where what you said is possible. How Jones managed to get a 6 for today's performance beats me. Where did he get the 6, Bill? I haven't looked at our player ratings yet. Connor takes care of them, so I haven't had a chance to check them. Who do you reckon will have a better future at Liverpool, Jayden Danns or Rio? Oh, horrible question. Rio, just about, I think. But I think they're both destined for very good things. Like, both of them are really, really, really good prospects, but probably just edge young Rio. Mark said Rio is the best ringer in the world to learn from in Salah, so Slot should keep him and play him against lesser teams in the league. Brian said I thought Freddie Woodman played okay. I thought his distribution, Brian, was a little bit better than I expected. But yeah, certainly no fault with him on what he did today. No chance with the goal. That wasn't on him. Jason said we play 65 games probably this season. We need to play Rio and Nioni, as I believe. Just like with Trent, both deserve the chance to play 15 games. No argument from me, mate, about that. If Arnold decides that's the way to go, I can totally understand your point, mate, and where he's coming from. The hopeful guy said Rodrigo, Gakpo, Salah front 3 alternating. Yeah, again, all good players. The Georgian Alisson was good at defending his box. Yeah, he looked the part. He didn't have much to do. Didn't see much by way of having to come out and command his area too much. 1 or 2 punches, I think. But he's a big physical presence, isn't he? He's a big unit back there. And It was a lovely post from Georgie Mamardashvili today as well, saying how proud he was to be the first Georgian to play for Liverpool, and how he wants to do well here. It was nice to see him out there today for the first time. Might be wrong, but isn't Rodrigo's best and favourite position on the right? No, he wants to play on the left, Anish. It's one of the things that he's kind of teased out there with interested clubs, is that he wants to play on the left. The reason he's not doing it, obviously, at Real Madrid is because Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, but his preferred position is on the left. Liam says it's been quiet for obvious reasons. Do you see the transfer news picking up this week? Definitely. I would imagine, I'd be amazed if we don't get the centre-back in before the lads head off to the Far East. I'd be amazed. In fact, I'd be amazed if we don't see a centre-back in by Friday at this point, because we need it. Like, jokes and everything else aside, we really have a need now after selling Kwanzaa. And like I said earlier on, I can't imagine that Liverpool would have sold Kwanzaa if they didn't have somebody ready. Can't talk about disrespect from the club from Darwin and wants us to sign Rodrigo. Why? Because Rodrigo had a little dig at us on social media when not playing for us. You and your warped little stupid childish mind there, Daniel, want to equate that to Darwin not once, not twice, but 3 times disrespecting the club. You're not clever enough to get into a debate with me, mate. I would roast you, bury you, eat you, spit you back out. You haven't got it, so don't try. All these people that think they're fucking clever. There's nothing more dangerous in this world than an idiot that thinks he's a genius. Honestly, mate, the opinion that you've given there, even the comparison you've made, is that of a child. It's fucking ridiculous. Thanks for creating this community. Love you. Thank you, TG. Do you mean a here we go or announcement by Friday? Oh, look, I mean a deal agreed. Sorry, the medical has to take place and all, but I would have, look, I just struggle to believe that Liverpool would have sold Kwanzaa if they didn't have somebody ready to go. And obviously, I think we can all understand that why they didn't press ahead with any deal after what happened with Diogo and Andre. Mancy said, Craig, I'm so scared of being roasted. Don't be. I'm respectful till people don't show it back, like I told you. And he tried to be clever by going, you can't want Rodrigo when you said Darwin disrespected us. Like, it's in any way comparable. A player playing for another club posts about us in the Champions League format. How is that comparable to a player earning £140,000 a week accusing the club of not playing them over money? But in this gentleman's mind, that was a fair comparison. I think it's childish. Like the late night streams. Thank you, Zumzi. I'm a late night person, so to me this is fine. The only reason we went so late tonight was obviously we wanted to let everyone enjoy the Club World Cup final. Let me ask you a question, actually. I don't see a reason to be bothered by his comment. You don't, but I don't give a fuck what you think. So, you say that, but put yourself in my shoes and have 500 of these idiots every day. And there's a problem when you're interacting with people, because sometimes you interact and you're going to pick up a comment from an idiot who wants to just try and cause trouble. Other times you're going to have somebody who wants to have a genuine debate, and that's fine. But what you think or see a problem with is absolutely irrelevant to me, because I'm the one with the microphone that's sitting here. So you can toddle off and go and not have a problem with him somewhere else. But again, I don't need your fucking acceptance, mate. Don't ever think for 1 second that I do. I'm me, unapologetically, and I'm not going to change. Joy said, I'd prefer us to prioritise signing a centre-back before a striker. I'm in agreement, mate. I'm in agreement. That's, to me, is definitely the one that we need through the door ASAP, is a centre-back. Who do you think is on the club's list for attackers? I would only be guessing. Dreeken would. Yeah, I'd only be guessing, mate. The truth is, I don't know. I'd love to know. God, I'd love to know, but I don't. Other than the name that you don't want me to say out loud. You know, if I say Anthony Gordon, people get upset about that as well. So, I don't know. There are names that I'd be happy with. Rodrigo, I'd be happy with. I'd understand Ekitike. I'd understand Isak. Obviously, I'd be delighted with Isak. But there's very few names at the minute that would really excite me with the idea of them signing through the centre for us, because I don't think there's many available great centre forwards at the minute. What are your guesses? Ekitike would be my guess. You know, there seems to be enough credibility behind our interest in Hugo Ekitike to believe that he's certainly well admired by the club. That would be my best guess at it, and it is a guess. Would adding Rodrigo with Gakpo block Rio? It's tough, Aaron, because when I say Rodrigo, in my mind, I'm not really necessarily thinking of him as just a left winger. I'm almost getting to that PSG formation that people were speaking about, where maybe he's central, maybe he's left, maybe we're fluid in attack and players swap around some positions. It's really difficult to know without knowing what's in Arna's mind. So we got a glimpse today of the way we set up in the first and second halves. And Chiesa was central in the first half. Obviously, Darwin Nunez central second half. Does he stick with that? And if he does, then if you brought in Rodrigo, probably left. But I haven't got a clue. I really don't understand, or not that I don't understand. I don't want to second guess what Arna is thinking in that position, because this is our first time in the transfer window with Arna, and I don't really know what an Arna slot striker looks like. Lads, I just shook hands with my mate on a bet that results in me getting an Arna slot tattoo if we sign Isak. Am I cooked? Well, I'm not going to lie, mate. I'd be happy if you had to get that tattoo. And I dare say a lot of our chat would probably be happy if you got that tattoo. But I don't know what your stance is on tattoos. You know, if you've got plenty of tattoos, then an Arna slot one, it's not the worst one to get, is it? Does Chiesa stay? I don't think so, because I don't think he could be given the guarantee of enough minutes that would satisfy the new Italian national team manager. And I think Chiesa's mindset is probably on getting back into that Italian team on a regular basis. And I don't think he's going to get enough time at Liverpool to do that. So, and again, Romano and others saying that he wants to move back to Italy. Where will Wirtz play? Probably in the Szoboszlai position that you've seen him in today would be my best guess. Do you think Haaland would work at Liverpool? I remember his grandfather said before he joined City, Erling would play for Liverpool at some point. Yes, he would. Like, can you imagine Wirtz or them lads treading balls through to him? Yeah, he'd score some. He would. I think if I could go out into the world and pull any striker and go, this is the one, it would be Alvarez. I just think he's tailor-made for the way we've traditionally played in the last few years. Liverpool needs to strengthen, not let more players go. That's weakening. So, it's not necessarily weakening. There are players who are going to be sold that aren't in the manager's thoughts. So let's say if Elliott goes, well, we've already brought in Wirtz, that's an upgrade. Kirkes we've brought in at left back, that's an upgrade over whoever leaves. At right back, the situation that Trent sorted out means we had to bring in Frimpong, and we did. So I'm not seeing the weakening that people are talking about. Kwanzaa being sold was a player that Arne didn't want to play last season. Darwin being sold is a player that the manager knew we couldn't rely on last season. And yes, because of the tragic event with Diogo, we're probably a body short there in attack. But I don't buy into the weakening ourselves argument, because we're not going to sell anyone that the manager doesn't want to sell. And outside of maybe Canade, sorry, that's probably the one deal that maybe one the club would be happier if he stayed. What did I think of Mamadashvili? I thought he was good, but it's difficult to give a definitive because he didn't have much to do, did he? So it's a difficult one, but it was good to see him out there. Ali said, some of these questions must do your head in. I do sit here my Auckland Monday morning chuckle. It's tough because I don't know who's on the level and who's on a wind-up, because all I see is text. You know, I can't read your body language. I don't know if it's a child typing. I don't know if it's a grown man or grown woman typing. I don't know if they're a Liverpool fan. I don't know if they're in to wind me up. So sometimes, yeah, I can be a little bit tetchy and I can be a little bit snarky. I understand that I am. But yeah, it's tough because somebody might just come into a stream and ask a question, but I might have been asked or talked about that question 50 times over the past week. And the Darwin situation is one that I can only give an honest opinion. I can't help it if people don't like my opinion. That's fine, but you know, I tell you what I believe to be the truth. Craig, can I contact you personally as I feel there's some serious mental health issues to be addressed in this forum? No, I'm not the person to contact about mental health issues or anyone else's mental health issues, because I'm not qualified to give you advice or anybody advice. Nor am I qualified to belittle anybody else if you think people are off on a mad one. Respectfully, I can't give you advice because I'm not qualified to, and I would be afraid to give incorrect advice that would only worsen a situation. That would be far worse than anything else. So, yeah, respectfully, no. And also, I don't have the emotional strength to take on other people's issues when I've, and you know, plenty of my own that I'm trying to work through. One solid showing from Darwin in a preseason game erases the immaturity he displayed last season. I agree with you, mate, but you know, like I said earlier on, I find it really tough to be critical of somebody who wants to support a player, you know, but I just can't see a justifiable reason for the support anymore. That's my honest view on it. But like, of course, you want people supporting our players, but sometimes I think it creeps into a level of delusion over believing it will turn around. I love that you're a bit snappy, Craig. It shows you're 100% honest. Well, today, look, I must apologise for being an extra bit snarky. As I said, I can't hear out my right ear at all. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. It's to do with my jaw that I've spoken about before. So I'm uncomfortable today, but I didn't want to let people down. I promised I'd be back on tonight, and I wanted to come on and make sure I, was a man of my word. What do you think of the idea? You didn't finish that sentence. If Darwin's price was under 30 million, we would have let him run his contract down. But it wasn't, so I don't know how to react to that one, my man. It wasn't. I feel you, mate. You can be irritated with one ear being blocked. It's thrown me off completely because even the sound of my own voice sounds very different to me at the minute. Do I like Darwin? I did at first. Yeah, I was very big. I bought a signed Darwin shirt. I was all for Darwin, even up until I would say October, November, even. I really wanted him to succeed because, like I said, I'm an emotional guy, so I can relate to somebody with emotional outbursts. But I'm also somebody who believes in responsibility, and I don't think he's taking the responsibility for his failure. I think he's trying to project that it's other people's problem or fault. And that, I think, is a problem for him and not a problem for us. A very crazy question. What if we're playing Darwin the wrong way? Maybe he can be used as a defender. Yeah, sure. Why not? Put him in the mighty red costume. That'll work. Chelsea going to contend for the Premier League, it seems. Really? Why is that? Because they beat PSG? I mean, I don't see them as Premier League title challengers next season. I think they'll be certainly comfortably in the Champions League spots, and they do all right in the Champions League itself. But I still think they're a bit away in their development. Thoroughly deserved their win tonight over PSG. They were brilliant, much better team than PSG were tonight on the pitch. Deserved the win, but I still think there's problems in that Chelsea team, and I think it will show up over the course of the season, particularly defensively. I don't know where you're going with this one, Brian. You said, I can categorically confirm I am a Liverpool fan. Cool. What's this about? Have we bashed heads on something else? I don't know what you're trying to prove with telling me who the last signing was. I don't know where. Sorry, Brian, this has gone over my head a bit, mate. Maybe I've forgotten a conversation we had earlier or something. Getting carried away with Chelsea because what cup? Look, they deserve their win tonight. I said started off the stream by saying exactly that. I thought Chelsea were by far and away the better team out there. So nothing but respect for them for that performance. But yeah. What can Nunez do to redeem himself in your eyes? Leave. That's it. There's no turning my view of him around. If he stays for the season, I will be professional and respectful as much as I can. But there's no redeeming him for me. I think we've had 2.5 years and two different coaches, different systems, and different opportunities for him to play, and he's never, ever been able to be consistent. And we need a consistent striker. It's nothing personal with Darwin. It's just he's not good enough. Mr. Tiger said, I think the Heat killed PSG. High intensity game tonight. Fair play to Chelsea, though. They were great. Craig, I still can't believe of all the available wingers, Arsenal chose Madueke. It certainly caught me off guard, mate. Yes. Obviously, Arteta sees something in Madueke that I'm not seeing, or a few other people aren't seeing. But I don't know what to say. It feels a weird signing. Tim said Craig Nunez disrupted the club and no players bigger than the club. Look, I'm just going to be glad when I don't have to keep having these conversations with people who want Darwin to do well or believe he's going to do well, because yeah, I'm tired of the whole Darwin saga, in all honesty. What do you think of the possibility of Liverpool waiting 1 year for Isak? I don't think. No, I just don't think Liverpool will wait a year. I feel like it'll be the here and here. It'll be the now or never kind of vibe. Another year older as well. I just don't think so. We need that problem sorted out now. But again, like I've said, I don't know the answer. What's going to happen with our striker search? I haven't got a clue. I would be very surprised though if we waited 1 more year and then moved back from. That would surprise me. Right, so about 100 votes away from getting to 1,500, then we can finish this one. What should we do with young Rio? Keep him in the first team, loan him out, or keep him with the under-21s? So if you haven't had your say on that one, please do. And we will finish it up in 2 minutes when we're about to finish up the stream. Isaiah James said it's now or never for Isak to Liverpool. Thanks for the 2 goals, the Geordies and the game changer against Bees, but bye-bye. If only those moments had been a little bit more regular, mate, maybe things would have been a bit different from a Liverpool. Because, like I've always said, I'll never sit here and say he doesn't have the tools at his disposal to be a top player. He does. But whether it's the league, the country, the culture, the coaches, whatever it is, it's just not coming together at Liverpool. If you can, hit the like button for me as well. We're nearly at 1,000 likes. We're about 118 away. So if you haven't hit that like button, just 100 to go. What's a fair price to sign Ekatike for? I really don't know, Jai, because I haven't watched them play enough to know. All I can tell you is they signed him for, I think, 13 million when they signed him from PSG. And 85 million quid seems a fair steep markup. So for me, 65, 70 probably be a fairer mark of where he is in the game. But again, it's definitely a seller's market for strikers at the minute. Right, so we're going to finish up this vote. We said, what should we do with young Rio? And 61% of you guys and girls that voted said that you would like to keep Rio at the club this season. And I think I'm probably with you on that one. I think under Arna is probably the best way to develop him. And like one of our friends in the chat said earlier on, maybe he gets 15 games throughout the course of the season, but really good training and really good experience as well. Even just being in and around the first team and travelling to more games can only be a good thing. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say goodnight to you. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. If you can, 50 likes to go to get to the 1,000. But look, let me just say one thing before we finish up. Sometimes it gets heated in here. Sometimes I'm an asshole. Sometimes people are petty. But overall, I love you to bits. And when I'm cranky, I don't like me either. But ultimately, you guys have been brilliant. You've been a tremendous community to us. You've been a brilliant supporter of what we've done here. And I wouldn't be here without you all. So sincerely, all of you, whether we disagree or not, I hope you have a lovely night. Lots of love to all of your families. And thank you for your continued support, even if we disagree on certain things. We'll talk soon. Much love.